good, people? It's your boy Icarus Gray.
And it's your homeboy Wordplay TJ.
And this is the No Rhyme or Reason podcast, where we talk about everything.
Everything for no reason at all. And we're live.
Yeah. What's good, people? It's your boy Icarus Gray.
And it's your homeboy Wordplay TJ.
And this is the No Rhyme or Reason podcast, where we talk about everything.
Everything for no reason at all.
We back.
And today we are going to do a no rhyme or review of Chance the Rapper's Starline, his album that just came out August 15th, 2025. Self-released, no label, which is amazing, continuing the trend of independence. And he has a star-studded cast, including the features on the record, but also the production on the track. And so that's the first thing that we're going to get into. And then we'll get into the themes, lyrics, favorite tracks, and then our arbitrary rating. So as far as production is concerned, we have some names on there, most of them not very notable, but some ones that come up a lot is Dex Level. Mm-hmm. I haven't heard of Dex Level much before.
I like that name. You
have AK-47. Chance does some production on the track. Dark Child shows up on No More Old Men. So if anybody doesn't know who Dark Child is, he's a producer that's worked notably with Michael Jackson on a lot of his 90s records.
Yeah, a lot with Brandy.
Yep.
And like that era of like, if there was a song that came out in the pop era of like female singers,
yeah,
Dark Child probably did it.
Yeah, his government name is Rodney Jerkins. So if you've heard that name, then it should sound familiar. Dex Level shows up a lot, by the way. So I think he kind of held the torch for a lot of these records, and then some other producers came in and helped out. Some of the other names I don't know, so I'm not going to go through them and mention them a lot. And so I think we should talk about the themes, because that's the big deal with this album. What is this album about? How does it speak to you? So what do you think first?
I think it's like Chance's, it sounds kind of like a revival, given, the divorce situation that he's going through. I think finding inspiration and creating this sense of what Chicago is to him, while also kind of being very introspective at the same time, that harkens a theme to me.
Yeah.
In terms of what he was doing a lot on this album. I
think it's like how Bankhead used to say to me that like my best projects come after a breakup. Too bad I won't be having any anymore, because then I'm just I'm just destined to make crappy albums then.
Oh man. The Adele theory.
Yeah, but like I think, to Brian's credit, this seems like his comeback after a breakup. Yeah. And I think people criticize Chance's last release, The Big Day, as being not a great album because he was happy and married, is what the narrative was.
I remember that. Like, and that's so crazy to me the way people do that. But anyway.
It's sick, but like, still,
it don't feel like they was wrong, which sucks, but also it makes sense. I think he also like theming that he's still the same, while also evolving. So it's like, I still got this energy in me. It doesn't change the energy of The Big Day, but where my focus points are, how I go about handling that, how I go about handling the criticism that came from that, are all apparent on this album.
Yeah, and when he started popping back up in 2022, what we noticed is that like he had been more traveled. He had been steeped in the practice. It's sort of like J. Cole's 10-minute drill or a 7-minute drill.
Yeah.
Where him and Vic Mensa and some other MCs that he is close with had taken the time to like dive deep into their craft.
Yeah.
And this is a product of him getting those reps in and putting in the work in order to make himself better. So I think that's what this album speaks to. His journeys, his practice, his exercise within that practice, and his ability to then turn that into a great project. And even the artwork continues to have some of the theming that 10 Day and Acid Rap has.
Yeah, and the craziest part about Chance is he's so calculated in each and every one of his themes because of his independence, but using that as leverage. I think an even better leverage than what we saw from 21 Savage before he sold or not sold, but did his deals and stuff. I think Chance, for all intents and purposes, whether it's a coloring book, right?
For what do you mean?
I'm trying to think of the one he got nominated for a Grammy for that was only on streaming.
That was coloring book, yes.
Yeah. Which shifted a lot of things for the culture, like thinking about that.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the pivotal role he played in like the digital sales.
Right.
That we don't give him credit for, or as much credit as I think we should. He's always been so very, and I'm saying it again, but very intentional about how he goes about doing this. So I think all of those themes and stuff shine so brightly. The way he goes about production, the way he goes about mixing things up, introducing like No Old Man or No More Old Men to Burn Your Block are two completely different feelings, but still convey the same theme of the album.
Right. So even though he mixes a lot of different genre influences, he still has a cohesive product here. Like none of these songs feel like they're out of place. And now that I'm thinking about it, Chance not only went through one breakup through this process, he went through 2 breakups because his management also dropped away, and they had to, if I'm not mistaken, they had some legal battles prior to after the Big Day dropped. And so there was a lot of issues that he was dealing with. And so if I were him, I would have also went quiet for several years and then come back to make this. So since 2019, 6 years later, here he is with his next album, and it's a good album in my opinion.
I agree.
What are some of the lyrics that stood out?
So Chance, and we were talking about this off air, but Chance doesn't necessarily, he's not the most lyrical miracle guy. He paints his pictures very direct. So like lines from him don't necessarily stand out in that way to me because I get what he's trying to say. Mm-hmm. So I'm more so like enjoying the ride or the stories, which is why I think No More Old Men or No Old Men, what is it? No More Old Men, yeah, I got it right, is like so pivotal to me because he sets a stage and tells a story that is very digestible and cool. But the one that I think I was really the most impressed by in terms of lyrics on this album is from Vic Mensa. And I think my favorite line from him was like, I put you in Chanel, but you're still tripping off ridiculousness and move you to the West Coast. Which, if you watch Ridiculousness, the girl on there, the blonde-haired girl, is Chanel West Coast.
Right.
You know, she had done some rapping and stuff before. And I think that was like a really cool way of like dropping this bar that is like really complex, but multi-layered. And I appreciated the entirety of Vic's verse, but that like really stood out because I was like, wait a minute. Because it was segmented in a way to where it wasn't like he was leading up to a ridiculousness bar. It was just intertwined so well that you're like, I'm hearing things that I've heard before, whether it's Chanel West Coast, ridiculousness. Do these all play that? They do.
Right.
And so I really enjoyed that from him. What were some lyrics that stood out for you?
So there's a lot in this album that I really like. And so I think this is an album that I can go back to and play over and over again.
Agreed.
But one thing that stood out was Letters, which is basically a open letter to the church and to faith, in the ways that it's wanting to make sure to hold faith accountable to the not only to the troubles that sometimes faith can cause in the world, but also to the lack of faith standing up for what's right or pushing back. And so it's really a call to action, because in the hook he says, I'm on my way, I'll be there soon, I'm on my way. He means, let's go. Like I'm headed there. Can you head there too? Can you come with me? Yeah. And so in the second verse, what really stands out is withhold shelter from ninjas for survival. First ladies walking around with furs and titles. Watch you spit in the man's face and call it God. But then it's really on your dogma. Dogma is Silent Bob. Like, I love it. I love the way that he is critical without being. I would say scorning in some ways, right? Without being, I would say too judgmental. Throwing the baby out with the bathwater is another way to put that, or I think a metaphor.
I'd even think it's more direct versus like sacrilegious. Like it's an earnest conversation. Like I think sometimes you can have these conversations and it can come off real demeaning, or like your anger or your rage or your passion or whatever it is isn't coming from something. And it's like, hey, this ain't what we're supposed to do. Yeah. We're supposed to be here for people. I was in a situation where, I lost my aunt, but I saw more that was like, what are we doing?
Right.
Like, that ain't what we finna do. You definitely not finna do it about this person who I knew was everything that you're supposed to be.
Yeah. And that theme kind of carries throughout the rest of the album too, because he comes with that energy time and time again. So like, this is not preachy chants at all. And I think in past albums he could come off a little preachy. He's found a way to like really manage that.
Yeah, I also think it was more like Chance is like, this is gonna sound crazy to some people, but it's my analogy. He just sounds more like a hip hop Kirk Franklin sometimes. But
that is a wild one.
But it's just the energy. Like the way he goes about talking about his faith, the way he goes about like asking things of others that he is also doing himself. I don't think he's ever asked something in a track that he's not willing to do, which is a mark of good faith and good morality in that sense to me.
Yeah, I think the preachy part has a air of corniness to it.
Yes, because it just seems really happy and all this other stuff. Like Chance has always, to me, had the duality of the joy of believing, but also the harshness of Chicago or the harshness of reality.
Yeah, but it also can be forced and performative, right? So I think the corniness comes from the performativeness. You are playing a part and wanting people to see that you're playing a part instead of just being it. And now I think he stepped more into the being of Chance the Rapper.
Do you think that it's like that's inherent of something in Chicago? Because I think immediately as we're talking about this, I think about Kanye. Like I think about his, like it just seems like religion for Kanye is a prop. Whereas like I do feel the authenticness of Chance, but we also know that whether it's Ultralight Beam and other things that Chance has been adjacent with Kanye in that way. So therefore there could be misguided or thoughts that are built from that connection.
It's hard for me to analyze Kanye because he's an opportunist.
Yes.
So maybe yes. The answer is yes. Kanye is very performative in that regard, and Chance is less performative in that regard. But yeah, it's just hard for me to. It's hard for me to say that like this is a cultural influence from that region either.
Yeah. I just think about it because when I'm thinking about the Chicago heavy hitters for me, right? Because obviously my favorite rapper is Lupe. Lupe is, when he talks about faith, he does it the same way to me that Chance does. Like he calls out the church, calls out different action, calls out the people. The whole album, The Cool, is about both sides of that. I think about Common and you know, Common's enlightened feelings and things that he talks about, right? And when I'm talking about the lyricists of Chicago, that's kind of something that I think is like glaring in their bars or in their songs, is the spirituality that seems to be a certain style that they have. Is what
I think I know what you mean, and I think I can hear the criticality in all of their bars.
Yeah. So yeah, this album was something special. So let's talk about our favorite songs. And you'll go first this time because I think I have one, but it's hard to kind of pick.
Okay. Well, I mean, we're already talking about it, right? My favorite track is Letters. Because I haven't heard Chance in this way, and I've heard Chance be political, but not political and critical at the same time.
Yeah.
And so I've just heard, you know, kind of surface levels of what things Chance believes without hearing the whole of it. And this is very holistic.
I think for me, I like No More Old Men. For whatever reason, I just think the story and the call of basically not having OGs or having older men that can be respected and how things are kind of changing really spoke to me for whatever reason, because I was a young kid wanting an older mentor in my life, didn't necessarily have one at any point. So thinking about how that's kind of like dying out and how there's not really that connection, the song really, really stood out for me.
Whose fault is that? I wanted to throw that wrench in there on purpose.
Oh my gosh. There's a couple layers.
Because one of our listeners wanted us to have that conversation. So
I think if we're talking about fault in a lot of different ways, first, fault will always be personal responsibility. And I say that in regards to, if you want a mentor, you can find a mentor. Now you got to be diligent about who you find and be able to like take the good with the bad. Secondarily,
so you're saying the person that needs a mentor needs to take it upon themselves to find the right person that could do that?
Yeah, that's one aspect. The second aspect, if you're specifically talking about the Black community, there were not a lot of us there. Because we were not allowed to be there, whether it's relationship, jail, or just general goings on of the hood.
General hood happenings.
Hood happenings.
General hood occurrences.
And then you think about the bigger portion of now, which is we spend more time being the age that we are. So like when you're 15, you think like a 15-year-old. When you're 30, you're not thinking about what you were thinking about when you were 15. So you're losing the actual connection of how I can talk to somebody. I think about, the generation, we spend more time talking about, oh, that music sucks, I don't like it. Mm-hmm. Like we all grow to that age of loving the music we grew up on and the artists we grew up on. Whereas it's just like, well, the same way that our artists change things, if we are open to having a conversation with those that are younger than us, to kind of like understand where they are at that space versus just immediately telling them how much they don't know because they haven't experienced life, we'd probably have more old men.
So here's my thought on it.
Let's get it.
I think the way that it is prescribed or diagnosed is hyperbolized. I believe that there are more examples of how to be a good man in the Black community than the Black community will accept exist.
I can see that.
Because you're not thinking about the teachers, the preachers, the deacons, the neighbors, the community that surrounds you. And I think this is kind of what you said as well. But like, you're not thinking about the community that surrounds you as an access point to those people. And for all of the ills that we have, those ills aren't the majority of us. I really, out of 10 Black men, I would say that the majority of those Black men, especially the Black men that I interact with, are upstanding family men, want something out of life, are pursuing it, and navigating white supremacy and all the other ills that they have to wade through. It's sort of like thinking in school that the kids that make the most, cause the most trouble is indicative of the school's culture.
Yeah. And versus it's indicative of home environment and a lot of things. I also think
that's even I think a thing that's hyperbolized, right? Like, and I'm not saying that your example is wrong. I'm saying that, like, I think there's a lot more stable homes out there than people think that they are. They're just designed differently. They just make up for gaps where they need to fill them in. You know what I mean? Like, it's sort of like, I do believe that there's a craving.
That's the part that I was going to say. I think the craving is there, but I think the mentality that I do not have access to the things that I'm craving is more prevalent, especially like with young kids. You just want to do the thing you want to do. And if nobody is coming along to tell you how to do it, or that it's okay to do it, or that it's this or whatever, you do what everybody else does. You rebel mentally or whatever. So I think it's more of a...
But I don't think kids would listen even if there is an example. Because if your prefrontal cortex is still developing, you're not listening even if your daddy's the greatest man on earth.
No. I think... The bigger thing that I think we desire from this song, when I'm thinking about No More Old Men, is creating an environment where you're able to be safe enough to get to the point to where you can understand the things that are around you. Like, and that's literally all we can kind of hope for in a lot of different situations throughout the generations, is our parents trained us as much as they could, but I'm going to get out here in these streets, or get out here in the world in general, and hopefully I'm going to use a lot of the stuff that you taught me, but I got to get out there to kind of see if that's the way it's going to be. If that makes any sense. But yeah, that, man, I don't know. Let's, I think we should get on to these arbitrary ratings.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about it because this one has pushed me to think on the general ratings a lot more than I think a couple of the other albums we've had. I know last week I gave Jid like 4.5 out of 5. I really think I'm gonna give this 4 Harold's Chickens out of 5.
Is that a Chicago spot? So ridiculous.
I think I probably would have given it more if for me the lyrics had been like a little bit more, like, I like Lyrical Miracle stuff. So being direct is fun, and I will listen to it more. But I crave that lyrical, like, face making sometimes.
Yeah, it wasn't scrunch face that often.
No.
And so for me, I would give it a 4 out of 5.
Yo, I literally just lost all the air in my lungs because that is hilarious. But what do you guys give it? What do you think of Chance's brand new album, Starline? What were your favorite features? What are all the things you enjoyed about it, didn't like about it? Let us know down in the comments. We'll see you in the next piece. Oh, wait. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you in the next piece. A 1 and a 2 and a peace.